Hi, my name is Taylor Corley, and this is my presentation on the nutrient requirements for cats. So this is a brief overview of just the 5 essential nutrients that are required for cats specifically, just for them to grow, to survive, to maintain healthy homeostasis. And so the first two are amino acids, the amino acids arginine and taurine. And so these are actually absent due to two enzymes that have low activities that produce these. And so these remaining three are vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin D, and niacin. And so these are all controlled by varying enzymatic activity. Niacin and vitamin D are actually controlled by high activities of particular enzymes, while vitamin A is controlled by a complete absence of its particular enzyme that produces it. Okay, so this is just a silly image of just the evolution of cats, but so why do cats have specific dietary nutrients that other animals don't? So some theories are that this may have been from evolutionary pressures due to like only carnivorous diet over time, and specifically in this group of animals, you have primarily meat being eaten, and so all these nutrients and the previously mentioned amino acids and vitamins are all found in those nutrients. So this causes the pathways that produce these nutrients to not really need to produce them and synthesize them in the body just to avoid redundancy. And so this allows that energy to be devoted to other metabolic pathways. And so some advantages to this is these carnivores can very fast and quickly catabolize amino acids to use as energy, and then they can break them down in order to form glucose via gluconeogenesis, which causes them to maintain blood glucose levels better than omnivores like humans. But the advantages of omnivores are they're more able to adapt to dietary changes in given different pressures. So the first essential nutrient that cats need to obtain from their diet is arginine. And so here's just the overarching role of arginine in the urea cycle. It can eliminate some urea cycle intermediates, some unhealthy ammonia that could potentially be toxic and produces urea. And the absence of this will just produce toxic amounts of ammonia in the blood. And citrulline acts as a precursor to arginine being produced. And so specifically in cats, these are both normal cycles that you can see in humans. So in cats, they take glutamine and through all these processes eventually produce citrulline. And so citrulline, again, is a precursor to arginine. But in cats, P5C synthase and orthonine aminotransferase are both heavily lowered. Their activities are heavily lowered, which reduces the amount of citrulline that can be produced. So overall, when removed from the diet, there's the certain effects that can happen include signs of starvation, neurological changes, hyperesthesia, mesis, coma, tetany, and potentially even death. And researchers found that adding arginine or even citrulline, which can be broken down into arginine in cats, actually fixes these issues. So taurine is an important amino acid that is primarily used in bile acid conjugation, just the formation of bile acids. And in cats, there's a few limiting enzymes which causes taurine to be reduced and to be used up. So unlike a few of the other essential vitamins, taurine is actually it can be synthesized. All the enzymes are present to be synthesized within cats. But cysteine deoxygenase and cysteine sulfonic acid decarboxylase are both heavily reduced in cats. They're present, but they're reduced. Their activities are reduced, which reduces the amount of available taurine that is present within cats. And so with taurine still being synthesized, it's present, but CoA amino acid in acyltransferase has an affinity for both taurine and glycine, and this is especially found in humans. So this is why taurine is an essential amino acid for humans, because we use glycine in addition to taurine in order to do this process. But in cats, there's a very low affinity for glycine, so much more taurine is used. So not only do you have a low amount of taurine being produced, but you also have a higher amount of it being used to produce terrachloric acid. But luckily for carnivores and cats included, this amino acid is found as a free amino acid in animal tissues. So with enough of this in the diet, it has enough taurine for these processes to work. So vitamin A is an important vitamin as it is responsible for gene expression. It's important in vision processes, and in humans it's primarily obtained from the catabolism of beta carotene. So beta carotene is cleaved via this beta carotene 1515 oxygenase, this enzyme, and so this produces retinol, which is the active form of vitamin A. So in cats, this enzyme is actually not even present in any of the tissue. It's completely deleted from it. So it cannot receive retinol from beta carotene. But instead, vitamin A can be obtained through the diet. And so since it can be obtained that way, then cutting carotenoids is unnecessary. So vitamin D is another vitamin that cats have to receive from their diet. So in humans, humans are able to take 7-dihydrocholesterol, and just through the UV radiation of light, they're able to produce vitamin D. So you can self-create vitamin D. But in cats, however, they have an enzyme, 7-dihydrocholesterol reductase, or DHCR7, which will actually convert the 7-dihydrocholesterol into cholesterol. And so it is super active in cats, and this just creates more abundance of cholesterol being produced from this, and it will not produce vitamin D. But again, cats are able to receive vitamin D through their prey. There's plenty of vitamins in their prey who are able to produce vitamin D. But an experiment was done where DHCR7 was inhibited, and once it was inhibited, the cat was actually able to produce its own vitamin D, but naturally it does not do this. Another interesting thing about cats is because they have to receive vitamin D from their diet, they're actually much more tolerant to extra vitamin D in the diet than other mammals. So niacin is the last essential nutrient that is required for cats to receive through their diet. And so this is the process of most other mammals, most other organisms. So you have tryptophan, which through this process will eventually be formed into this intermediate. And so this semialdehyde intermediate can undergo two different pathways. So it can either undergo this pathway, which is catalyzed by proclinic carboxylase, which produces acetyl-CoA and CO2 from tryptophan, and the other pathway produces NAD. So in cats, they actually have one of the highest activities for this enzyme. And so once it reaches this intermediate, since this activity is so high, it's going to favor forming acetyl-CoA and CO2 every time. And so NAD is not going to be produced. But NAD can be supplied there's an abundance of it in prey and other animals. So this creates just a lack of need to have NAD formation. And so some potential benefits to this is just tryptophan being directly converted into acetyl-CoA can be more energetically efficient, but still NAD can be retrieved in other areas. So other interesting nutrients that are in cats are phenylalanine and tyrosine, which they aren't required for growth and health, but they are essential for hair color being maintained. And so it's really tyrosine. Phenylalanine is converted into tyrosine in this reaction, but tyrosine can undergo this reaction using tyrosinase, which is the key enzyme for this, and it can eventually be formed into eumelanin or phenomelanin. And so these two melanins are what is required and will produce what coat color your cat is. So your eumelanin will produce more black coats, and your pheomelanin will produce more red coats. And so this will vary depending on how much is present or the mix of the two. And so this happens as tyrosine is the precursor for melanin. So these are my two questions. What would be the result of picolinic carboxylase being less active in cats? And why is taurine considered non-essential in humans and essential in cats for the formation of bile acids? And here are my references. Thank you so much.